Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And today I want to talk about this topic that I think it's about time we at least get some community consistency on what we think about it, what we feel about it. And this question rather, is seasonal content drying out? Is it feeling dated? Is it sort of overstaying its welcome? You know what I'm saying? We've been in this seasonal content drip feed loop with Destiny 2 for a long time now, and not all seasons are created equal either. And basically we kind of have gotten into what I would call a rut, where it's this loop where seasonal activity has become so predictable, right? We know we're going to get a 6-man activity that's going to be match made. We know we're going to get a new wave of seasonal weapons. Some of them are going to be good, some of them are going to be bad, and we know that we're going to get a master version of that activity as well. And we know that we're going to get a battle pass, and on that battle pass it's going to have one exotic weapon, and it's going to have a base armor set, and then later it's going to have a cooler armor set. You know, this seasonal model is nothing unique to Destiny. You know, other games like Apex Legends does it, Fortnite does it, even games like Sea of Thieves does seasonal model stuff too. So it's not unique to Destiny, but I'm starting to feel like it might be a little repetitive, a little redundant at this stage. Hey guys, just a polite reminder before we get into all the Destiny stuff that this month I am partnered up with Flaviar, bringing quality whiskeys to your doorstep for a fraction of the price. In fact, they're running a special deal right now with my promotion code. You can use code TrueVanguard. I'll leave a link below, but they're going to give you, for $50, you can pick out any bottle up to $60 retail value price, and a full tasting box that has, you know, 50 milliliter vials of whiskey in it. So you're basically getting like $100 of whiskey for $50. So definitely click the link below, check it out, and use code TrueVanguard when you check out for even an additional 10% off after the deal as well. And for those of you that got the Flaviar welcome box, per my recommendation, next week, Tuesday night, we'll be doing the live stream where we go through that tasting box together, and I'll talk about the distilleries, I'll tell you about the whiskeys, the stilling process, the difference between bourbon and rye and scotch, all that stuff. We're gonna hit that Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'll see you then. So I think that all the seasonal content is just starting to feel a little too uniform to me. You know what I mean? Am I the only one there? And it's isn't, I'm not dunking on Destiny, because I love Destiny, and even the seasonal stuff. Like, I've even been open on Twitter about it. I think the pirate stuff this season is kind of cool. Like doing skiff to skiff battles, launching yourself over, boarding their skiff, taking out the captain. That's a really cool vibe. And then going and digging up treasure. I think that's pretty cool loop, and I like it. And with this seasonal stuff, we get sort of like this little drip feed of narrative too. Like every week you're gonna get like a minute and a half update on the narrative, and then every now and then you're gonna get like a banger cutscene, right? And it progresses the story that's being told in the Destiny universe. But I really miss, I think, having more consistent, like, big stuff. You know what I mean? How do I quantify that? How do I qualify that? Well, even just going back to think Season of the Forge. If you think back to Season of the Forge, and I know this is a pretty high standard to set if we were going to say, well, I want all seasons to be like this, but you think about what we got with Season of the Forge, and you compare it to what we got today. With Season of the Forge, we got the Scourge of the Past raid, which had, you know, some pretty killer loot in it. The shotgun was like the S-tier shotgun of its time for PvE. The Anarchy came out, and the Anarchy, I would say the Anarchy was to Destiny 2 what Gjallarhorn was to Destiny 1. And I know now we have Gjallarhorn in Destiny 2, but in D1, Gjallarhorn was like, you must use this in endgame PvE content. And then for the longest time, that was Anarchy. Anarchy was, you must bring an Anarchy for endgame PvE activity. For every raid that came after, people were using Anarchy up until the day that it got nerfed. Not only that, but instead of just like one season pass exotic weapon, we got 3 with the new activity. The forges came out, you know, you had the Volunder Forge, you had all these different forges, and you could get the Lemon Arc, which is not like just your run-of-the-mill seasonal exotic. Lemon Arc has had a strong presence in the game ever since that day. Jotun, again, not a run-of-the-mill seasonal gun. Like, Jotun has a reputation, whether you love it or you hate it. It has a reputation, and it's earned that reputation, and it's been a regular part of the conversation since the day it came out. Izanagi's Burden, this exotic sniper rifle, you know, and it revolutionized PvE encounters too, so much so that devs were having to consider that gun specifically when they're making encounters, because people are coupling that with Divinity, and everyone's bringing, okay, so who's got the Divinity? All the rest of us are running Izanagi for the new raid boss on Garden of Salvation. You know what I'm saying? This was not your run-in-the-mill. Like, you compare that season to this season, they are not the same. Not only that, but the seasonal weapons that we got on top of, you know, those 4 exotics that I just listed, we also had the Kindled Orchid, which gave us Rampage and Kill Clip, very cool gun. We had the Hammerhead, which also became an S tier PvE ad clearing weapon as well. We had the King of all dad rifles, the Blast Furnace, which I loved. Surprise, surprise. And the activity was a 3-man activity, not this 6-man big activity. So you compare that season to what we have today, they are dramatically different. You know, and I'm not saying that should be the standard. Honestly, Season of the Forge, they had the help of Vicarious Visions. I mean, they had another studio helping out with that at the time. But to be fair, on the other side of that conversation, Bungie has significantly increased the size of its studio since then as well. So we know they have more people on the team. So I'm not saying that that should be the standard, that we should get a new raid, new activity, 4 new exotic weapons that are revolutionizing the game. I'm not saying that that's the standard that we should be meeting every new season, but I am going to suggest that these seasons have stopped wowing me, because now I know exactly what to expect every season. It's always the same sort of formula, this formulaic approach to Destiny content, outside of the big content drops that we get once every, you know, well, lately, like year and a half between the Witch Queen and Beyond Light. Part of me misses these big releases, and not just like these huge DLCs. I mean, yeah, we've had huge DLCs. Like, you think Forsaken, okay? Obviously, we can't have a Forsaken DLC every year, but you think about everything that Forsaken brought. Like, holy cow. Completely revolutionizing the way you play Destiny 2, down to how you equip weapons and what weapon types there are, with special ammo coming back instead of energy ammo. On top of that, obviously, we got 4 new Crucible maps. We got a new dungeon, we got a new raid, we got 2 new patrol spaces, brand new strikes, new lost sectors. I mean, it was just, it blew everything. New game modes. Forsaken was like, it may as well have been a brand new game at that point. And again, I'm not saying this needs to be the standard. I'm just saying I miss when huge things like that would happen. And it wasn't this predictable formulaic approach. Obviously, we got Lightfall coming, and it's going to be incredible. By all accounts, you know, brand new space we've never been to before, completely changing just the way that a patrol space is going to be designed. This one's going to be much more vertical, we're told, and so we're going to be traversing this patrol space in a much different way. New subclasses that look incredible. Strand looks amazing. The armor itself just gives me like Ninja Turtles Under Siege kind of a vibe, and I love it, this cyberpunk vibe. And obviously new characters, the residents of this city on Neptune, and you know, what they're about and how they live life. That's going to open up a whole new you know, space for story development, which is exciting for sure. But I am worried that we're just going to go from that right back into a seasonal loop like this, where everything is once again formulaic and predictable. And that's what I'm thinking about. It's like, in that downtime in between major releases, I don't want things to be so formulaic and predictable. I hope that they will change things up a little bit so that every season brings something different. It's not just, okay, here we go, new 6-man match-made activity, some new weapons, some are good, some are bad, a new exotic tied to the battle pass. I hope they get away from that model and start to be a little bit more innovative in these seasons, so that they don't all sort of mesh together and feel like more or less the same. But what do you think? How do you feel about the seasonal model? Is it getting dated to you? Is it sort of getting dry to you? Or do you find it to be refreshing every season just to have small things to do every week? Because right now it really is like that. It's like every week is just going to trickle a little bit more out of like this bag of content that they've set up for the season. And, you know, we're waiting patiently every week, like, and then there's like, Tuesday comes, they're like, bloop, and you're just, okay, I'm done, I'm waiting. They're like, oh, I gotta wait another week to get your next drop, you know what I'm saying? And so I hope we start to innovate a little bit more. I feel like we're getting a little complacent with this predictable model. And they're not just trickle feeding us narrative either. They're also trickle feeding you over the course of the entire season things like your patterns that you need to unlock the crafting abilities of these new seasonal weapons. So a lot of times you've already gotten to the point where you've got the role you want. Maybe you've put, like for me, I put like 3,000 kills on a random roll of the Brigand's Lost Sidearm this season in PvE before I got the ability to craft one. So now I'm like trying to make that tough decision. I'm weird like that. Numbers like that really matter to me. So it's hard for me to break a relationship with a gun that I've got that much, investment into time-wise, kill-wise, to craft the new one. It does take something out of me to do that. So they're trickle feeding you all that stuff. The ability to unlock certain focusing abilities with the Umbral engrams during that season. All that stuff is trickle fed over time. Maybe that's just me, but I like Destiny to be something I can engage with for longer sittings and feel like my time is well spent. But with this seasonal model, I start to feel more like, okay, well, it's time to fire up Destiny and play for an hour and do all the things I need to do, and then be done. Outside of, obviously, the raid completions. I'm doing raids on all 3 characters every week, and then dungeon completions if I want to farm those. There's a lot of good endgame PvE. I'm not overlooking that, and I do appreciate that as well. But this, the narrative being this trickle feed is sort of feeling old to me. What about y'all? What do you think? Let me know. I want to know. Tell me in the comment section below. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you liked the conversation today, hit the like button, let me know. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.